All right. Hello and welcome everyone to this Encompass session on tailoring Encompass Mobile. This is one of the lab encores that we've selected for your viewing pleasure. We hope that you were able to make it to BevAge and see it live and in person. I see at least one person who was, but we are also rerunning these so that we can, one, have them in a recorded format, two, expand our reach to those who may not have been able to attend BevAge and see it live in person. Um, I am here today with Richie Williams, one of the presenters of this content, and I'm just going to give a few seconds for everyone to get into the room now that we've opened it up and get everything started. I know that we have another session directly after this, another encore from the main stage. So we'll be wrapping it up right on time, but we do expect to have some time for questions at the end. However, as with any of our content and skills kickstarts and encores, please don't hesitate to drop anything you've got live and in the moment in the Q&A or chat feature, and we'll address them as we go through. So I'll be your facilitator here, and I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Richie.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Lori, for passing that off to me. So she is your facilitator. I will be your presenter for this session, where we will be going over tailoring Encompass Mobile to fit your workflow. So just a little bit on the presenters. There's, of course, me, Richie. I'm here in this session with you. Also, Mike helped with the BevAge presentation here and helped put this together. So giving him his credit here, even though he is not going to be with us presenting with me today. But I want to give him his credit. But I will be walking you through this presentation here. And again, my name is Richie. I've been with Encompass about a little over 10 years, wearing many different hats. Right now, currently, I'm on the implementation team, working with existing customers to bring on new products. So you may see me, if you haven't yet, in the future, if you decide to use some of those new products. But for today, right, we are going to focus back into our Tailoring Encompass mobile session. And what we're going to go over today here on the agenda, we're first going to touch on just some benefits of different mobile applications. So, why would you need to tailor Encompass Mobile? What do we get out of doing that? We're going to look at some quick examples of just different roles and different ways that you can tailor Encompass Mobile and what those might look like at the end. So we're going to look at some of those. And then we're going to get into the lab portion of this, where we'll go over how to create a mobile item and then how to configure a mobile application. And then also, after we get the mobile application set up, we're going to go over how to test and deploy that mobile application. And then, like Lori said, at the end, we'll have some time for questions where we can return to any topics or go over anything that you have any questions on. And with that, let's go ahead and dive in. So first, we're going to talk about the benefits of configuration. So what we are doing here, right? We're tailoring Encompass Mobile. The whole goal here is to change what the users see on the handheld or on the mobile version of Encompass. And why you would want to do that here for the benefits, the first the first item here is a focused interface. Right. So, we have the default mobile application and there are a lot of icons on there. Um, so one benefit to configuration is getting all of the, those little buttons, those skittle icons that our users don't need off of that screen. And that's what we mean by that focus interface. So we're going to tailor what they are seeing on that screen based on what job they're doing so we can maximize their daily efficiency, right? So they have a workflow that they're working through. They don't need all these extra things on their handheld. So let's remove those and only show them the things that they need to do to get their job done. And there's a couple of, side effects that come out of that. One, it's just easier for training on any item, right? So if it's a new user, we can train them a little quicker because we don't have all these extra items. And anything that we add to our workflow also makes it easier on the training side. And then just in general, if we have any turnover, right? We have people leaving, coming back. It just makes everything easier if it's already ready to go for their job. It's already set and ready to go. And we'll kind of touch on that at the end where we see how to deploy this, where we attach this to the role. So as part of that management for that changeover of people is getting them into the new role, and having a customized mobile application can help with that by only again showing them what they need to do their job. Another benefit to configuring Encompass Mobile for different roles and users is access to various sets of data that are in Encompass. So you might have users that are in roles where they need to see reports or metrics for either themselves or for their entire team or something like that. And if we can put any type of dashboard or report into a mobile item and then attach that to a mobile application, right? And by putting those things into the mobile application, those are available to the users on the handheld immediately just from that home screen, right? So they don't have to go in, log into the server to see these reports. They can just access it directly from their handheld. So that's where this data accessibility comes in, right? We're putting those right at their fingertips, so they don't have to go to other sources. It's all ready to go. And then we can also bring in, some third-party apps and tools as well. If we have those integrations, we can also make those available right there on the handheld screen. So not only can you customize so it looks the way that you need to by removing things, but we can add in useful reports and dashboards that, again, facilitate faster workflows to let our end users, do their job and not spend their time logging into the server and going back and forth between the application and the website and that sort of thing. So with those, benefits of configuration, why would we want to do this? Now we're going to look at some examples of what the end result would look like. So we're going to start by looking at just a slightly different view of Encompass Mobile. So for your delivery drivers, you might want to make a mobile application that is focused specifically around them. So you could put things like some delivery tracking. If you have like a mileage tracker sort of integration, right? You can put some of those things directly on the mobile application to make them available for your delivery drivers. You can have some route management tools built in there for your managers and drivers to take a look at. And you could have some integration with signatures and some point of sale, point of delivery type applications that you have through third parties. You can put those all on your home screen, and the end result, as we're showing here, might not look that different from what the default is, but you can see some of these icons have changed and moved around, right? So we can take out some icons that we don't need. We can add some icons in to allow our users to access those things while they're out in the field. So again, this is just a slightly different view of Encompass Mobile, where we have some icons taken away and a couple different icons added. Now we might go to a different role where we have our sales rep, and we want to enable them to do their job again successfully with the fewest number of barriers possible. So for sales reps, we might, put some reports in that show their progress on some sales goals, weekly, monthly sales goals that we're trying to hit. If we do have, again, any third-party applications through, any third-party surveys or integrations, we can have those links right here on the home screen for our sales reps. And then, just some other just things to get in our head that we might want to add for different roles. For sales reps, we see sign shop requests. A lot of times we want to put something like we can see here in the very top left of our image, where we can get directly into that sign shop request, so we don't have to go through any of those other flows. And also for sales reps, we also see surveys a lot of times. If we're not taking them directly from the customer interaction, we can put a link right here on the home screen to go to a certain survey. And what we're seeing on the in this right image is the iPad view of a sales rep. And there's a little bit more added here. So again, we're changing what this home screen looks like a little bit more than what that driver saw, right? So now we have a lot more icons. We have this nine in this little grid here. There's a lot of reports and tools that the sales rep might need to get to. So we've added quite a bit more to their view. So again, this is a different mobile application than what the driver would be seeing. They have those specific icons to go to those mobile items. These reps have different icons that are going to different things. Whether that be reports, dashboards, or those third-party applications. And then now we have a much, I guess, greater changed view of Encompass Mobile. And this would be a possible example for a sales manager. And this is for a sales manager who's not really interacting much on their handheld. All that they really need to do is have a streamlined functionality where they can get in and see customer information. So here we've removed all these other icons. All they can really get to is the control panel, which we cannot take away, and the customer dashboard. So, they're not going through my day. So we've taken all that away. So when we say, this is streamlined, we've taken away literally everything else that they don't need. And all we've left connected is this customer dashboard and the control panel. Now, this would be where, for our sales managers, we might want to have a quick dashboard, for some goals as well. But, by paring it down to just what they need, it's very easy to go in and add one or two more things like a dashboard or a report to this screen. But again, you can see that, this is a much greater change where we've taken a lot of stuff away and we're only showing them the very few things that they need to do their job. So we have looked at, some different views of um, the, different views into Encompass Mobile. And for the sales manager, we can dive into that customer dashboard a little bit more, just to kind of show that inside of the actual dashboard, we have these different links. And if you're, used to going to the customer dashboard on mobile, you'll kind of know what's in here, right? We can have some invoice information for sales history. We can see here historical invoices and all of these things. These items might look a little different, and that is because of a key feature of the mobile items is that we can resequence them within a certain dashboard. So here we have the specialized items, retail call activity form and retail call activity history. Those are at the top because we've told the system to do this. So, not only can you customize that home screen, but you can also get into these individual items and sequence them in a way that makes it, again, easier for your end users to do their job. And that's really what all this is for, right? We want the things that they're going to use the most to be at the top so they can easily access them. So something else to keep in mind as we go through, we're here in a second, we're going to create a mobile item and we can look at how the sequencing within, a certain dashboard or something like that can happen. But this is calling out that we do want to have our key functions near the top to again make that workflow and job easier for the end users. So we did want to highlight again, I know we kind of touch on it during the sales portion of it, the sales rep portion. We do want to highlight for what some of these icons that we were showing do is they do allow us to open reporting while we're out in the field, or any dashboard that we add to it. We just can make a mobile item for it, link it appropriately, and then we can open it up on the go. And not only is this good for reporting, but as we can see here, there's different uses for dashboards. We see a lot of reports with the graphs like we see here on the right, but we can also, have a dashboard that goes through some detailed new workflow, or if we have new SOPs that we're trying to enforce, we can put links to those instructions and guidance directly onto their home screen so that they can access them while they're out on the road. So we are going to transition into the lab portion of this here in just a second. And as we do that, we're going to take a look at these three different tables. We have mobile applications. That's sort of the main table, I guess, where everything is connected. The mobile applications are the different views that we see on the handheld. So when we in those examples, right, we looked at the driver handheld. That would be one mobile application. The sales reps would have a different mobile application, and then the manager would have a different mobile application, right? So there's different sets that control what the users see. Those are the mobile applications. Then we have mobile items. Those are the individual pages, or what we see on those individual icons. So like when we looked at that customer dashboard, that was a mobile item. Anything that we could link to inside of that customer dashboard, that is also a mobile item, right? So each individual page that we can navigate to from the home screen or within a dashboard on Encompass Mobile, those are all mobile items. The mobile links are the connections between the mobile items. So, when I tap on one of those Skittle icons, you know, for the customer dashboard, what happens when I go to that dashboard? That's what the mobile link does for us. Is it tells the system, hey, we need to go here, and this is how these mobile items are linked together. So we need all of these in order to, customize or tailor Encompass Mobile. We will be creating a separate mobile application with its own mobile items, and then we will be changing those mobile items and using mobile links. So we will be interacting with all of these tables. And with that, we can get to the lab, and we want to go to the BevAge site that we see here, um, BevAge 2026, and we're going to go to the mobile applications table.
And we're actually not going to have you guys go to this site, but Richie is going to. This is what we do when we are at BevAge. So you're just getting a little taste of what that would look like.
So I'm going to so now I am going to, as Lori said, go to this BevAge 2026 site. So I will be, as we saw on that slide, I will be going to the mobile applications table. I will be coming back here to this dashboard. This is sort of my landing page here. And there's some things that I will use here, and I will also highlight a very helpful link that you may want to use when you are customizing your mobile applications. Uh, but I will go to the mobile applications table. And this is where, again, we create those mobile applications. So this is what we can, these are the different sort of collections of items and views that we have for our end users. So when we come to this table, there are going to be some Encompass built mobile applications, like we might see this default here. Now, something to keep in mind just as we're going through this, talking about customizing these applications, you cannot, excuse me, you cannot edit the default mobile application. So another way to say that, the system built applications, you will not be able to update. You will need to copy and make a version of your own. So here in this BevAge site, we have quite a few that we've gone through. When we did this during BevAge, we have a bunch in here, and that is fine. What I'm going to do here is kind of show you what you would do if you did not have all of those. So in order to make a new mobile application, Um, you can always start from scratch if you would like to, but I will show you. I'm going to open up this mobile application and I'm going to show all of these mobile links, right? So one of those other tables that we talked about. Now, when I show the subtables of mobile links, we can see that the mobile links take us from one mobile item to another mobile item. And these mobile links are all attached to this default mobile application. So, in lieu of starting from scratch and creating all of this on my own, which I would do if I just added a brand new mobile application, I would have to establish all of these mobile links. I can instead copy this mobile application. So, I'm actually going to do that now. I'm going to go to subtables, copy this mobile application, and I'm going to bring over all of these existing mobile links because I just want to make a couple of changes from here. So I'm going to rename this to Tailoring Encompass Mobile Lab. So I'm naming it like we should do with everything Encompass, name it something that is useful so we know what it is for. But now that I have this named, we can change the home mobile item if we'd like to. I would say probably in the beginning we don't want to do that, so I'm actually going to leave these the way they are, and I'm going to copy this record. And again, it's going to bring over all of those existing mobile links. All right, so now you can see I still have my default mobile application intact, and now I have my Tailoring Encompass Mobile Lab application that I can edit and do with as I please, so to speak. So again, I'm going to just focus now again on this mobile application, but we do have all of these mobile links, right? So all we've done so far is copy over the default. And now again, I can get in and change these. And this is where we can really customize what the end user sees. So I am going to now click view here to go to this mobile links table, and we can see all of these connections. So on the mobile link table, we have, of course, the application that is tied to. So for this, so because of the way that I got here, these are all going to be for that same application, which is what we want. And then in this table, we have two different fields, again, saying from this mobile item to this other mobile item. And you'll notice here at the top, all of these are going from home to different mobile items. And this is actually controlling what we see on the home screen. So when we see these mobile links going from the home mobile item to another mobile item, this is those Skittle icons that we see on that home screen. So we're saying, hey, on the home screen, make a link that goes to my day. Make a link that goes to this customer dashboard that we saw on the slide. Make a link that goes to the warehouse, right? So these are all of the things that we see on that default Encompass mobile application. You may or may not see all of these. You may or may not be using the default now, but when you started on Encompass, these were all there initially in that mobile application. So if you don't see them, then at some point, you kind of went through this. But these are all of the things that we see on our home screen, and the mobile links are what tells the system to show them. Now, I want to touch on a couple other fields here. First is this grid layout. This will tell the system where on the home, where on the screen we want this to show. So, sticking with the home screen here, we can say that we want this to be in the main section, which will be put it right there in the middle where we saw all those icons on our slides, right? All those links to the dashboards and different workflows that we have for our users. That's all in that main grid. And the order that they're showing up in the grid is determined by this sequence field. So it is just going to put them in a grid according to the sequence going left to right and top to bottom as it can fit them on the screen. per the device screen size. We also have some other options here. So if we have, if we think back to that Encompass mobile screen, on the bottom, we always have that giant sync button. So we can actually see that even here, right? So there is a mobile link that's causing that sync button to show up on the bottom. And here in this default, we also have a clock out. I know not everyone uses the clock out, but on the default, we also have that here on the bottom for those users, right? So the mobile link is telling the system, hey, we have all of these pages, dashboards, reports. We want to organize them a certain way, right? By setting our grid layout and our sequence. So we can change these around, and it's going to change the order. And then we can create additional mobile links. That's how we get those additional icons to be added. We can also remove mobile links if we don't want them to show, right? So if we are a WMS organization and we don't need the pick management kiosk, and I have my mobile application here, right? All I need to go to, just like any other table, these are just records, and I can delete this mobile link. And now I do not have that link from the home screen to pick management kiosk on this mobile application specifically. Here in a second, we are going to create a mobile item and show how to create a mobile link. So, we saw how to take one away, but we haven't dove into the mobile item yet, and that is where we are going to go next, right? So we've talked about the mobile application in its entirety. It's a collection of all these different things that we want our users to see. What they see is determined by the mobile links. And those mobile links are taking us again to these specific pages or dashboards or reports. So now we're actually going to go to the mobile items table. I'm going to keep this page here to come back to. I'm going to go to the mobile items table just so we can see this in its totality here. So for this specific part of the lab, I am going to go back to the dashboard that I started on to kind of help explain some of the field here, especially when we get to the URL. So when we are adding a mobile item, there are a couple of things that we have to keep in mind, so to speak. So again, I'm going to come back here, and I am going to use this new placements report here to make a new mobile item. But I am going to use this help resource because it has an important link in it, and I want us all to see that. So I'm going to open both of these things here. So we have a new placements report. So let's say that I want to, as part of building out this mobile application, I want to make this new placements report available to the end users of the mobile application that I created for this lab, right? So we have this Tailoring Encompass mobile lab. I want to put a link to this report for new placements right on the home screen, because we're trying. This is a goal for our organization this quarter or this month. We want to drive up new placements. So I want to make this report available right there on that home screen so our users can get to it quickly and see where they stand and where other people under their manager stand. So I'm not going to go into how to make this report. That's not the goal of this. That's why there's just a link here. And I'm going to save this report as new placements lab here. Right. So I have this report ready to go. Now I'm going to go to the help resources where I think we're going to see why I want to have this up for the mobile item that I'm going to create. So this help resource, you can get this, in your site as well. This is just the help resource for creating a mobile item under the CRM section of help resources. And this will just talk, say, hey, you need to go set these fields. But why we want to point this out is the URL. So there's a couple of things to keep in mind when we get to the URL portion of the mobile item. Um, One is that if we don't, pass what we call the session along with the URL, it's going to make the user log in again, right? So they're logged into their handheld. They've done the syncing. They have this icon on their homepage. They tap the icon, and if we don't do it correctly, if we don't set the URL here correctly in our mobile item, when they tap that icon, it's going to make them log in again. So it's just, a frustrating little loop that we can kind of get into. So we want to pass that login session in those circumstances. And that is what this URL down here does for us. So, we can see here, there's some examples. We're essentially going to copy and paste into the mobile item. When we get to it, I'm going to create here in just a second. We're going to copy and paste from this page directly into that URL box. And again, the whole goal of doing this is that it does not force them to log in again. So, we can kind of read 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 here what we're supposed to copy, and then there's an example of, again, what this would look like. And we can see here this little dashboard here at the end that we will be copying in. So I'm going to get that from my report and attach it to the URL here in just a second. But I wanted to give a little explanation of why we are pointing this out, and it is to, again, force them to not log in again. So now with this knowledge and this report saved, we can return to our mobile item, and we're going to create a new mobile item. So in this instance, I'm just going to add a mobile item here from scratch. I'm going to, again, just name this what it is for: Tailoring Compass Mobile Lab. New placement. Okay, and so when we're talking about the URL field, so that is going to be right down here. So, this is a text box. We can expand this, and it's going to make it, as large as it needs to. And this is where we're going to want to copy and paste in from the help resource. So, we want to be careful. So it says starting after the .com, right? So we can grab all of this, and we have the Encompass server URL, and then we have this section here where, it's /home, and then we are grabbing everything else. Right, so I can paste this in, and then when we have this destination URL, I can go grab my report URL, and I can paste that right in. And so now I have a link that is going to this report here in the mobile item, and it knows where to go based on the URL that I pasted in. So now I can add this record, and we have our mobile item created with a URL, again, to not force the additional login. So now I have this mobile item, but we have not connected this to our mobile application yet. If you think back, that is exactly what the mobile links do for us. So I'm going to go back to this tab that I still have open here under mobile links, and this is where I can tell the system where to put this new mobile item. So we can see here, we have all of these links from home to different mobile items. And this is where we deleted that pick management kiosk because we don't need it, right? We just took it out of the view. And that put a gap here in our sequence. I'm actually still just going to add this mobile item here to the end of our main sequence. So I'm going to add it in right here. Now, I'm just going to add this mobile link in and, change where it's going. So we can add one from scratch. I can, just to kind of show some of the functionality, I can come to this other mobile link and I can copy this mobile link and I can say, actually, instead of going to the quick tour, I want to go to this tailoring Encompass mobile lab new placement that I just created. And I don't want it to have the same sequence. I want to change this to sequence 9. Right? So for this mobile link, as I'm copying this, we have our existing mobile application, and we're gonna have this link go from the home screen to our new mobile item. So copy that. We can again just look at these here together. But again, we're just have these separate records and we have a new sequence that is set after. So I'm going to reset this mobile link here so we can see all of our mobile links for this application. And then our new one, I guess, would be somewhere here at the end, just because of the way that these IDs show here. But let me bring up this home. We have, oh, okay, that's what I didn't do my search efficiently enough. Here we go. This is what the view I was trying to get us to. So here we can see we have, we are ending at 8 with the quick tour, but we have the copy and we have our new mobile item showing down below. Right. So here in the lab in the BevAge site, I have walked through a few different tables. So I'm just going to touch on those again, and then we're going to go back to the slides here for a second, and show how to test talk about how to test and deploy your new mobile applications once you have all of this done. So I just want to touch on those 3 tables again. We started with the mobile application. This is the actual, the whole set of items that the end users will see and have access to. That is what we copy, and that is what we link from. So this mobile application will also be, as we see here in a second, what we attach to the roles for the users to see. So the application is that silo, where we have all of these links established and where we will attach to the different roles so we have the different views for the different workflows and jobs that we're doing. Within the mobile applications, we have mobile links that we're viewing right here. And these tell the system, for all of the things that are within this mobile application, how do we link them together and how do we display them? And what it is displaying, those items, that's where the mobile items come in. Those are the dashboards, the reports, the my day, all those different sections of Encompass Mobile that we're used to. Anything that we can tap into is another way to say it on Encompass Mobile. Those are all mobile items, and then those are all linked to the mobile applications through the mobile links. So, we have these different levels. All of them work in tandem to give that display to our end user that we are customizing again for their job to ultimately make it easier for them. And with that, I'm going to come back here to the slides. And we're going to talk about testing and deployment for a minute. So we've gone through the table setup, how to go in and create these applications and adjust them, edit, add a mobile link, add a mobile item, all those fun things. But now, we want to see what it actually looks like for the end user on their handheld. So we will usually, of course, want to test it before we roll it out to everyone. And when we are doing the testing, it can be done by anyone with the client edit permission. So as it highlights here, anyone with that permission can see mobile applications within about 30 minutes in the drop down for mobile applications in the handheld. So we can see an image of this on the right on this slide here, where we can go to the control panel, go into complete settings, and it's like the third option down is a drop down for mobile applications. So if you have client edit permission, you can get into that drop down and you can select your mobile application and take a look and see, just to make sure that your icons are displaying the order you want, make sure it looks visually appealing, make sure nothing is there that you don't want to see. All those things that you just did when you're deleting, adding mobile links, right? You should be able to see that within, like it says here, 30 minutes by going into that drop down and selecting it. Now, I have seen it show up quicker, um, but I do have an example that I previously created where I can go in and show this on my handheld here in just a second. So I will go and show where this is, and I'll show that it updates immediately. I don't expect the one that I just made to be there because of that 30-minute wait, but I do have another one to show here in just a second. But again, if you have client edit permission, you can go in through control panel, complete settings, tap that mobile application drop down and choose your mobile application, and it should update immediately on your handheld. Now, once we have tested this and everything looks good and we're ready to go, that is where we're ready to deploy this to the roles. So it is actually fairly easy to do this. It is just a field on the role table itself. We just go to the role. There's a field called Encompass, or sorry, EM mobile application, and you just edit this to the application that you created and tested. So we can see here on the right-hand side, this is an example of just three different, very distinct roles with different mobile applications. So we have a delivery rep with a delivery application. The merchandiser is just using that default. We didn't need to change anything for them. And then the sales rep has this sales mobile application set. And it's all just from that one field. And then the next time that they sync, their view would change to what that new mobile application is. And because it is immediate, the next time they sync, that is why we encourage you, I guess, to test your application first so that they don't sync and then just they can't get to my day to do their job or something, right? So test it first. Once it is tested, then you can roll it out to your users by going to the role table and again editing this mobile application field. And so there's a couple of things here at the end that I want to show. One is just to confirm for you where this update is made on the role. So I'm going to go to the site here. I'm just going to go to the roles table just to show, hey, this really is just this mobile application field. We can edit the column and, we can change this for the roles as needed. It really is that simple. Now, the other thing that I would like to show is where on Encompass Mobile we go to test. So again, I do have a different application ready to go. So I'm going to switch the view very quickly to my handheld device here. So here I am logged in. Oh, sorry for the flip around. I am logged into the BevAge 2026 site as well here on my handheld. We can see this is the sort of the default view, including that pick management kiosk that we took away during the lab. But I'm going to tap on that control panel. I'm going to tap on complete settings up at the very top. And then we can see that third dropdown says default for the mobile application. If I tap into that drop down, you can see, like we kind of had in that table, we have a bunch of different examples from BevAge. I am not seeing the one that I just created, which again is not surprising because of that 30-minute wait. But I'm just going to tap on this one that says sales rep because I'm pretty sure that is what I named mine initially. And if I just back out of control panel, then you will see something very similar to what I did earlier here in the lab, where I don't have that pick management kiosk icon, and I do have an icon on the bottom right for the new placements report. And then if I open this, right, it's going to take me to that new placements report, and I must have on that one have not put in that URL, so it's making me log in. So just a word of caution there: if we don't want them to log in, you will need to put that URL correctly in, otherwise they will get prompted. But we can immediately see as soon as I switch that mobile application, I see the results here on the screen. So you can immediately go test out your, I guess by immediately, I mean, after 30 minutes, you can come in, you can test out your application, and then you can go make additional changes and continue to iterate through using that same flow. And with that, it's going to bring us here to the end of the slides. So I want to say thank you for attending this webinar session for tailoring Encompass Mobile. And we're going to open this up to any questions we have at the end.
All right. Now, we have not seen any questions come through either the chat or the Q&A, but if you've got something you're noodling on, if you're typing something out, just be aware I'm going to slow roll this closeout. So you have some time. Um, I want to start off by reiterating Richie's thanks. I thank all of the participants who were able to make it today. Big thank you to Richie for coming back and representing this content to us. You can definitely, I think, get a feel for how we like to roll at BevAge and get hands-on with things. So we would love to see some of you in the sessions live next year. If you do have any questions after this, don't hesitate to reach out to the support team. You can reach my team here at BevEd at encompass8.com. That's BEVED at encompass, the number 8.com. And please fill out the survey at the end of this session. We're going to go ahead and post something, give feedback to Richie, give feedback on what you'd like to see in the future. We do have a whole fall season of content planned, and I would love to get your suggestions and feedback now. I still haven't seen anything come through, so hurry up and get something, hit enter on a partial, and then I'll know to continue to sort of chat. But I think we're going to go ahead and leave it here. So if you're in this next session that's coming up, we look forward to seeing you back here in 10 minutes with those folks and those presenters. But the encores continue at Encompass, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good day.